Might as well since we're here. Hello, welcome back to the party.
Are
You guys see my screen?
socks?
Real quick,
Yes.
you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes? All right, that's what we're gonna that's what
The
we'll
notes,
discuss in
the
like
bottom of the notes, no. Actually, is that all of it?
that's all the correct answers.
Okay.
You guys can check that document versus but yeah, Pelosi said they have a deal closed. So they have a deal closed. You know, I'm torn. I hope we get one.
The Olympics for 2020, they officially got postponed, right?
Yep. Williams just brought it up. We were just discussing that. Guys, if you have cars driving sounds like someone's in the bathroom running water, please mute yourself. All right. If your name is Leslie, please mute yourself. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding.
I'm like, I'm not loud.
I know, this is the most we've seen Leslie like calm, cool, and collected. I don't know what's happening.
Depression, that's what it is.
Okay, so 10:41. We start at 10:40.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I got my thinking hat on. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Now you can see it.
At the cowboy.
It's not a cowboy hat. I'm not sure what it is. My wife's hat. All right. So either way, hello everyone. Let's get right to it. What I want to discuss today, I do want to we had a bunch of people leave yesterday while we were discussing a little bit. Let me lower my TV. I want to discuss a little bit about what Leslie brought up yesterday. And we kind of compartmentalized a little bit of the content in terms of your 401k and your traditional IRA and your Roth IRA. All right. So, guys, give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. Okay. Sorry. All right. So where was I? Right here. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my screen. How do I make my photo bigger? Ham, why are you like the focus on my screen right now? You're the largest thing on my screen right now. Not okay. That is not what I want.
Ham wants to take over.
I know, seriously. I don't like it. Now I can't even find myself.
I'm just gonna stop my video.
No, it's not just you, it's everybody. Hold on.
I'm just kidding.
An option for it. It's really
The
weird.
grid, you have to go to the grid on top.
Yeah, I'm at the grid and I'm trying to just find. I think I hid myself somehow.
Pin your video.
No, I'm not going to cancel the meeting. Oh, so annoying. You know, they have such a good product and some of it is a little bit frustrating to control. Choose background. Give me 1 second, guys. I apologize for the... All right. Still not visible. All right, so whatever. I guess we won't use my video this morning. That's a bit obnoxious.
We could see you.
How can you see me? I can't even see myself. Wait, you guys can see me?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how the heck am I?
Oh, I cannot see him.
Scroll down.
Scroll down. Look, on page 3 of 3. Mr. Power is not here.
Yo, him, what background is that, bro?
The Northern Lights. You never seen the Northern Lights?
Well, I'll pick this
I
one.
have, but oh, that's an ugly dog, bro.
All right. So there's my video settings. It's just, yeah, it's display. All right, forget it. This isn't gonna work. All right, so let's just check this account out. So pull out your sheets. Let's look at these sheets versus what you guys have on yours. Yesterday we discussed 401ks. We can fine tune a little bit of your 401k questions today. A lot of you guys actually stayed late after class yesterday, which is pretty cool to discuss it. That's pretty exciting for me to see that you guys seemed really into it. So it's kind of rewarding for me because this is really important information you guys need to know. Regarding your 401k, something that we discussed yesterday was that you can buy and sell stocks or bonds or any investment asset that you have access to within these specific retirement accounts. So you can buy it. If you bought Apple yesterday, Apple was at $218 yesterday, right? You could have bought Apple yesterday at $218, sold it today at $240, made a whole lot of money, and not paid taxes on it. Why wouldn't you pay taxes on it is my question.
Because you end up paying taxes on it once you retire and start getting the distribution.
Right. So you start getting the distribution when you retire. Where is that money? So you sold it, you bought it, you sold it, you made a whole boatload of money. Congratulations, you're the smartest person in the room, right? Now what? Where's that money sitting?
It's in the account.
Yeah.
401k account.
Good. Which account?
The 401k account.
401k.
Good. So it's still in your 401k. Since it never left your 401k account, you didn't liquidate the account, you didn't sell anything to leave the account, therefore, you're not paying taxes on it yet. So you can buy and sell and you can do your options if anybody here does like options or is going to learn about it. You can do all of that stuff within these retirement accounts, right? Without paying taxes on it. Because the money stays in the account you're investing and playing in. Frida, where are you? You're like on a balcony. That's like nice.
Yeah, I'm outside right now because inside's kind of loud.
Man, I want to look at everybody. Look at Frida. I want to be like Frida. Frida's fly right now.
I'm in another country. You can't even say anything.
Ham, you are not in another country. You're literally green screen.
Frida's always flying.
It's actually
All
a
right.
video background.
All right. So any questions on that? So we haven't even got into traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs yet. That's fine. We will get to it in a minute. Does it make sense that you can buy and sell within these accounts?
Yes.
Good. Does anyone have a question on that?
So only those three, not pension?
Your pension's different. We'll get to your pensions in a moment. Let's focus on these three first. All right.
Okay.
Do we have any questions on how this works in terms of buying and selling in your specific account? All right, so that is important to note. I need you guys to definitely be aware of that because it is something I actually don't do enough. I buy and sell stocks in my personal account, and then I'm stuck paying what at the end of the year?
Capital gains.
Income.
Capital gains tax, exactly. Thank you, Leslie. If I were to just buy and sell in my retirement accounts, would I have to pay tax every year on it?
Your net.
What?
Your net income. After the money that you put into your 401k or retirement account, that's what you get taxed on. So
Right.
after tax
Would
deductibles.
I have to pay taxes on the stocks I sold?
Oh no.
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 So I should actually do a lot more of my investing and trading inside one of these accounts than in my personal account because I can avoid taxes. Does that make sense? Yes. The
Yeah.
answer is yes. Amar, question on that? And actually, there you go. Amar, question? Okay, Amar's not answering. Daniel, Emery, do you guys have a question on that? Does that make sense? Is that clear?
Clear.
Siobhan, welcome back. Okay, so if that's clear, then we can move on away from 401k. All right, so I think we're safe to say we can move on to your traditional IRA. So if we're focusing on your traditional IRA, I want you guys to write this down if you have your notes. If you're not taking notes, then you're just listening. That's fine, but this is something you need to definitely understand. There are really only 2 perks to a retirement account. 2 key perks I need you to understand about a retirement account. I'll give you a second to write those words down, 2 key perks, and then we will discuss what those actually key perks are. Okay, so does anybody know what those key perks are? There's really only 2, and they're actually on that document you're looking at. So what would you think, take a random guess, one of those 2 perks was?
Tax deductible.
Good. So first we'll talk about, is it tax deductible? That is the first perk. What is the second perk then? Do you pay income tax, and how do you pay it? 1, 2. These are your key perks. This is the only reason you have a retirement account, is for these 2 perks. So you have to understand these 2 perks before you make any decisions. Otherwise, why are you doing it, other than the fact that Mr. Powers said to do it? All right, so you have to comprehend the 2 perks. Now, the perks definitely vary because you don't necessarily get those perks with every account that you have. So that's important to do that research on. All right. So first, let's look at 401k. Is it tax deductible?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you make 100K and you put 15 into it, you pay tax on $85,000 of income. That's tax deductible, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to the traditional IRA. Is tax deductible a guarantee? Yes or no?
No.
No, it says maybe. I mean, it's not, it's a no-brainer, right? So it says maybe. Why does it say maybe? I want you guys to read the bottom notes. So it says see below. See what it says in notes about the contribution limit.
It says it changes
Say that again. I lost you.
differently per year.
So it could change yearly, right? So
Depends
yes,
on your income.
yes, it depends on your income level. So there is an income limit for your traditional IRA. That is huge. There is a definite income limit. So what does that mean? So what that means is if you make under $120,000 a year, you can deduct your contribution from your income. So if you make $110,000 a year, you invest $6,000 into your traditional IRA, what are you paying taxes on?
$104,000.
104. Good. Did you hit the threshold for the income limit yet?
No.
No. The income limit is $120,000, I believe, in the year 2020. So here's what that means. What that means is if you make more than $120,000 a year, you make $130,000. You invest $6 in your traditional IRA. What do you pay tax on? You earn $130,000 this year in income. You invest $6 into your traditional IRA. What do you pay taxes on?
130.
30.
Yes, the full 130. You were over the income tax deduction limit. Take a minute, write it down so it makes sense. Leslie's looking at me like you're looking at a deer crossing the street. So Leslie, if you make $50,000 a year, are you under the limit?
You are, wait, 150?
If you make 50,
Oh, you're under.
right? So you can deduct the 6,000,
Yeah.
and that means you only earned $44,000 this year. If you make $150,000 this year,
Mm.
okay,
You're over.
you're over. So can you deduct it?
No.
No, which means you can pay taxes on the 150 and still put the 6,000 into your traditional IRA, but it's not tax deductible. So you can contribute, but it's not tax deductible.
So then what would that mean when you withdraw the money once you reach the age? So like once you can withdraw the money, do you get taxed on what you put into your retirement or no?
Well, read the traditional IRA box. That's this.
Mm-hmm.
Are you taxed when you take it out during retirement?
Yes. If you early withdraw, yes. Yes.
Well, look, do you pay income tax during retirement?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Got it.
Okay. So is there a bigger perk? Who's there a bigger perk for to have a traditional IRA? Who's the real big perk for?
People that have 120 or less.
Yes, wonderful, Leslie. If you earn 120 or less, why is that a perk for you?
Because tax deductibles.
You guys got it. There is one reason they created the traditional IRA. There is one key reason they created the traditional IRA. Anybody want to make a wild conspiracy theory guess? There's one. I hold up 2 fingers. There's one reason. Come on, somebody give me a. Who just raised their hand? I just saw somebody. Ethan, what you got? Hello?
Oh, I wasn't raising my hand.
Okay, you were waving to someone, I guess. Anyone else? Does somebody want to tell me what the maybe we'll go with Emery, haven't heard from you today, or Gabriel Chin, hi Rue, haven't heard from you either. What then would be your conspiracy on why did they create the traditional IRA account? You're going to be like, oh my God, duh, when I tell you.
To help out the people that don't make as much.
That's it. You got it. This is to give low and middle income people access to the stock market, access to investment vehicles like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. Because there's an incentive. If you make more than 120, screw you, who cares? If you make under 120, hey, let me tell you how we can convince you to join the stock market. We'll make it tax deductible. Good, Emery. Any questions on that? Good. So then, do you think this works? Do you think this concept would work for people? Anybody say no, this won't work? I would love to have an argument right now if somebody says no. Come on. No? Nobody wants to play the opposite side of this? So Emery, you got out of college, you make 60 grand a year. All right. What are you gonna do first? 401k or traditional IRA?
Traditional IRA.
Traditional IRA?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? What would you do first?
You said 60?
Make 60k a year. Which one would you do first?
Yeah, 60. If it were higher, then I would do 401k.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
I think 401k because you have a bigger contribution limit.
There you go. So Emery, you're not wrong, but Leslie, I would say, is a little, in terms of if you say 401k first, I would say more right because you can contribute more. Both of them you pay income tax when you retire. Both of them are tax deductible because you are only earning 60k a year. Which one can you contribute more? Your 401k. And they contribute to it, remember? The employer helps fund it. Now, if you were to make 150 grand a year, I would still say 401k first because they are still contributing to it. So the real question, and it was kind of a trick question, the real question would be if 401k is, if your savings account is first, your 401k is the second place to put money. The real question becomes, which one is 3 and which one is 4? Roth or traditional? That is where we have to come to a question, okay? So we established already traditional. It's your plan. You pay tax. Under 120 grand, you can deduct it. $6,000 limit, age, forced distribution, self. You can change your contribution. You fund it, the same exact penalty, and we understand the income limit. I think we're pretty done with traditional IRAs. The goal of this was to get middle and low income people involved in the market, kind of the same thing as the 401k. Ethan, you got a question? You raise your hand.
Yeah. So then what would Roth IRA be used
That's
for?
what we're going to move to right now. So let's talk about your Roth IRA now. With your Roth, well, first, before we go to Roth, are there questions on your traditional?
What does forced distribution mean?
Forced means when you hit that age, the government makes you start taking out your money. You can't keep it there forever. As soon as you hit 70 and a half, you have to start pulling money out. They require it.
Like what method do they make you forcefully do it?
I have no idea. That I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I know everything. I know a lot about a little, but I don't know that.
Wait, what was his question?
His question is, how do they force you to take money out? Do they force you to sell your assets? I'm not sure. I actually never heard of that happening to someone, but in my own research, that was what I found. Usually people tap into it, so I don't think it's ever an issue because by 70, you're probably not working anymore for most people. So you usually need to tap into that. I'd be curious if I can find something online of how they force it. Let me see if I can do some homework on that. All right. All right. Any other questions on your traditional before we move down that that column to the Roth? Vanya, Nada, Tasneem?
I'm good.
All right. Okay, so now we get to your Roth. Oh, by the way, hey, look. I got my face back on. Okay, so now that we're back at the Roth, it is a self-funded plan. Check. Do you pay income tax
No.
during retirement? No, you don't. That is a huge game changer. Okay? Here's why. Let's say you bought $100,000 worth of Apple in your Roth IRA. Okay? In 30 years, you made $300,000 in profit. Guess what happens when you take it out at 59 and a half?
You're taxed if you don't have a Roth.
Well, we're talking, we are in our Roth. In our Roth, let's say Leslie puts away $6,000 for the next 10 years into her Roth. That's
Mhm.
$60,000 in cash. She puts that 60 into Apple stock, AAPL, cash tag. That 60 turns into $400K by the time she's 59 and a half. When you turn 59, what can you do?
Take it out.
And what happens?
Nothing. You have all of it.
Nothing. Oh wait, you guys might have missed that. Hold on. Nothing. All right, because you're not paying taxes on it. Questions on that? So there is a perk to this account, a huge perk.
Mhm.
The perk is you don't pay tax when you pull it out. So I'm over here buying and selling Visa stock and going crazy in my personal account, paying taxes every year. I should just do that in my Roth IRA. Keep it in that bucket in my Roth IRA. And then when I retire, I'm done. I'm good. Because I don't have to pay tax. Ham, does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right. So now we move on to this. So this was good, right? So Daniel, you're there. We talked about 1 and 2, the 2 reasons you have it. All right. Is it tax deductible? No. Sad face. Right? Let's clear that, actually. We'll do sad face. It's not tax deductible. Happy face, you don't pay tax on it. So if you make 30 grand a year and you put $6,000 into your Roth IRA, can you deduct it from your taxes?
No.
No. What do you get taxed on at the end of the year?
Your principal, I believe.
Yeah, so what did you earn? What did we just say you earned?
All of it.
30,000.
30K. Yes, all of it. 30K.
Mhm.
So you put the $6,000 in, but you don't get the tax contribution benefit. So it doesn't lower your taxable income. Okay? Same thing, 59 and a half. There is no forced distribution. You manage it. You contribute. You fund it. Same taxes, same fee, same taxes. So 401k, tax deductible, happy or sad?
Happy.
Happy. 401k, you pay income tax during retirement, happy or sad?
Sad.
Sad.
Sad, but you're really indifferent because your tax bracket's going to be so low because you're old.
Mm.
Your traditional IRA, same thing as your 401k. Sad, but probably less than you would because you're not working. Is it tax deductible? Maybe. Roth IRA, pay income tax, super happy. Tax deductible? No. Those are your 3 key retirement accounts. You have access to those immediately. Gabriel, I didn't see when you put that in the chat about say that again. Which one? Oh, that was all the way back at 10:59. Gabriel, did I answer that question? Did I go over it again? I'm sorry. I didn't see your chat comment. Let me move this window so I can see it. All right, I'll wait for Gabriel to type. Any questions on the Roth? That was pretty fast. These are your 3 key retirement accounts. There are drastic differences between the 3. Your 401k has a larger contribution. That's the key difference. Your retirement account for your traditional has an income limit. And your Roth IRA is no tax during retirement. These are your 3 key factors that differentiate. Questions about your 3 key factors?
What's the point of having both trade and Roth?
Say it again, Ham?
What's the difference between having both? Like, why they make 2?
Well, why'd they make 2?
Well, for trade IRA, it incentivizes. Wait, but for Roth IRA, you still get taxed before retirement, right?
Yeah, so that you pay your normal income tax. So if you make $100,000 a year, Ham, you will get taxed this year on $100,000.
Yeah.
But the $6,000 you put away does not get taxed when you retire. So if that money makes money, you don't get taxed on the money that you made.
I have a question.
Okay, I'm listening.
So for Roth IRA, when I was doing research on it, I said that I found that you can still make contributions because there's no like forced age where they make you withdraw the money. So you could still contribute that even after like you turn 70 years old, right?
Yeah, but why the hell would you be contributing to a Roth IRA at 70?
Well, I found it was more so like if you think you're gonna be making more money like when you're older or like from when you were putting in money into it, like when you're making contributions towards it. Because I also found that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I found that one, I'm trying to find which one it was. Oh, so it was confusing, but it said that any returns on the account that like was generated, you can only take it out after 5 years after the account was funded, and then there were other conditions for it.
For the Roth IRA.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's conditions for it then, I guess.
Yeah, but that's only if like I guess that's for investments. I was kind of confused on that because it was worded weirdly, but it says that if your like account generated any additional income, then you would have to, there would be certain conditions such as age and
Okay, so then
other conditions.
if it's 5 years, I'd have to do some research on that myself then.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't looked that far in advance, regretfully, I guess. So if you're saying 5 years, technically, so if you want to take out your money at 60,
Mm-hmm.
then anything you do after 55, you have to wait 5 years to take out that profit. So let's say you sold Apple at 58 years old, you can't take it out till you're 63.
Yeah, something like that, I guess.
Right. So you'd probably want to start selling it at 55. So by the time you're 60, you could take that money out.
Okay.
So again, that also might be something that changes. So we have to be cognizant of the laws do change and these policies for retirement accounts can shift, right? Like last year, the contribution amount was $5,500, not $6,000.
Yeah.
And next year, the contribution might be $6,500. Who knows? Okay. Any questions on these?
To,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Who was that?
Shannon. Is it possible to give the account down to someone since there's no forced distribution age?
Can you gift it?
Yeah, like let's say like I'm getting really old and I want to give it to like a kid or something. Like to pass it down.
I don't know. What I do know is that you can. So my nephews have. It's not a retirement account. It's called it's a college fund. It's a custodial account that I made for them. So I invest in it, and they will be able to get it when they're 18. You can transfer things from a retirement account to another account, right? So if your child is 18 and they have a Roth IRA, you can probably make the $6,000 contribution for them. Does that make sense?
What if someone were to like pass away? Like, does the account go to their kids?
Yes. So you have to make sure you guys have a beneficiary. God forbid something happens to you. Like I'm only 35. I'm only 25. But if God forbid something were to happen to me, if I don't have a beneficiary, guess where my money goes?
The government.
More than likely to get tied up in the government until they get the court system kind of spends the next 8 to 10 years deciding if my family should have it. If you have a beneficiary, when you die, they get it. That goes for your pension.
Theirs.
What?
So like it just rolls over into their accounts.
I doubt it just rolls over. That makes sense. But I'll tell you this, if I pass away and my wife is my beneficiary, she can contact whoever is managing my account, TD, Citibank, who else can control it? Voya Financial, whoever controls your account. She can contact them and say, hey, listen, Chris died. What's the process to get his stuff? I'm his beneficiary. Now, if I did the paperwork and she's the beneficiary, they will figure out how to do it. Whether it gets liquidated and she pays fees and taxes, or whether she has to open up a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA and transfer the money to a retirement account, that would be decided then. All right? But if I tell her she's my beneficiary and she's not, right? If you lie and you don't do you have to do the paperwork, then that money doesn't guaranteed go to them. So even at 19 or 20, when I started my investment account, 10 or 15 years ago, I made sure the first thing I did was had a beneficiary. I made my parents my beneficiary. I was single. I had no kids. I wasn't married. Well, I need because if God forbid I died, somebody deserves my money and my assets. So I gave it to my parents. Now that I'm married, I took them off as my beneficiary, and my wife is now my beneficiary. So if she kills me, she gets everything.
Wait, can you make a beneficiary for someone that doesn't exist yet? Like a child you're planning to have?
No, because they don't exist. You need a social security number and a birthday in order to make someone your beneficiary. Now, as soon as your child is born, you can make them your beneficiary. But like him, God forbid, like you want to have the money to pass down to someone. If you're not married and have no kids, I hate to say it like this, but if you die, you're not going to have kids to pass it down to anyway, right? So at 19 or 20, the first thing you should do is make somebody in your family that you trust or care for your beneficiary. God forbid something happens. And the moment you get married or have a child, you can then change the beneficiary. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, then my question might be this. Laura and I are married. We decide to have a child in a couple of years. I can then remove her as my beneficiary and make the child the beneficiary, or I can say 50-50 beneficiary. My child gets 50% of my assets. My wife gets 50% of my assets. That is an option when you have a beneficiary. You can split it up by percentage. Questions?
When I was doing research, I found that for a lot of them, the contribution limit changes for like people that are 50 years or older. Like I think they get, instead of 6,000, they get a 7,000 contribution limit.
As your age changes, yes.
Yeah. Why is that? They said it's like to catch up contribution.
There's a lot of people that don't do this because they're not educated about it. Right? So you have people that are in their 50s or 60s and they don't know about this. So they're not ready to retire at 70 or 65.
Mm-hmm.
So as you get older, the government allows you to increase what you can put into your contribution because they want you to put money away so you have money when you retire.
Okay.
Most people are not going to be as smart as you guys and start making these accounts when you're 18. Most people will not do that. Since you will do that.
What's like beneficial in the long run?
What's what?
What's more like for trade or Roth? What's more like in the long run? What's more beneficial for your?
That's personal. That's personal. So if we did 1, 2, 3, 1, I think we can all agree would be your 401k, depending on if the company matches. Right? If there's no really good match, then maybe it doesn't really work. But again, you're lowering your tax bracket by $19,000. So that's huge to lower your tax bracket. So I would definitely say 401k is number 1. You guys take a minute yourselves, 30, 60 seconds, what do you think is 2 and 3? Traditional or Roth? Look at the notes, have an argument, right? Remember, your tax deductible is 1, your income tax is 2, that you pay. These are the 2 factors you want to contribute. You want to take into consideration, sorry. Which would be 2 and 3? If we said number 1, well, number 1 is savings. Number 2 is 401k. What is 3? What is 4?
I'm gonna pick trade IRA third.
Traditional.
I would do Roth.
Okay, so we have some differing opinions. Hold on. Gabriel, you had a question? You raised your hand. What's your question?
Yeah, when you asked if I had any questions, I went to the bathroom.
Okay, sorry.
But you did answer, so yeah.
Okay, so you're good now.
Yeah.
Good. Anybody else with a question before we go to what's good, 3 or 4?
When I found that there's also conditions that to withdraw early as well, like if it's for specific reasonings. For instance, I believe like hospital bills are like you get disabled and you can't work early on, or even to do construction for your house, I think was one of the conditions.
For which one? All of them or one of them?
I believe it was for all 3 of them.
Okay, so then that means that it's meaningless, right? Because if it's the same, there's something called hardship, where the government may waive certain fees or penalties. If that's the same for all of them, then you don't really take that into consideration.
Okay.
All right. So, all right, what do you got? So traditional, how many people, can you guys just mention in the chat? Let's go traditional first. Who would put traditional as 3? Put a 3 in the chat. Put a 3 in the chat if traditional is your next investment. All right, we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's a bunch of people. If you would do traditional as the 4th one, which means your Roth is 3, right? And your traditional is 4. If you think traditional should be last, put traditional as 4. We look like we're split down. Nah, we look like we have more 3s. Nope, now we have more 4s. So, okay, so Frida makes the most interesting statement. And let me just show you guys what it is in case you didn't see it. Frida's comment always has an asterisk because that's kind of how she says everything. There's always an if-then relationship, it seems, with most of her arguments. If she makes more than 120K, then she would say traditional as 4th. So basically it looks like this. If you come out of college making 60 grand, she's going to say traditional is 3rd. Is that right, Frida?
I think it's the opposite. I put 3rd if I make under.
3rd if you make under 120 grand.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I
because
can benefit from the tax deductibles.
yes, exactly, tax deductible. So that's huge. Okay. Okay, so then this is going to be a wash. So I'm just going to X that through because that kind of seems, it's kind of personal. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, just like this. Simply because when you guys come out of college, more than likely, you're not going to be pulling in more than 120 grand, at least your first year, for many of you, most of you. So with that, this might be the 3rd smartest thing to do. Savings, right? 401k, traditional because you get the tax deduction, and then an IRA. If you're making 120 grand, you should invest in all 3 because you can take out 19, take out 6, and you're still living on like $88,000 a year. I'm pretty sure you can handle that.
So I had a question earlier and I didn't think it was necessary, but now I think it's necessary to ask, but is it okay to have multiple retirement accounts?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, you can have all 3 of these. I have all 4 of these and a 403B. So I have this, Then I have another one of these because I'm no longer in the private sector. I'm in the public sector as a New York City employee. I have a traditional account. I have a Roth IRA. I have a pension because I'm in the union. I have a savings account. I have a checking account. And I have a personal investing account. And I have another personal investing account. I have an account for my nephew. I have an account for my niece. And I have an account for my other nephew. Damn, that's a lot.
Your taxes must be crazy.
That's why I hire an accountant. All right. Most of what we discuss, we've talked about, stocks and bonds. We've talked about ETFs, mutual funds, individual stocks, putting monies in a certificate of deposit in CDs. You guys know all these investment vehicles. So more times than not, you can manage all of these investments to a degree, okay? You might make some good decisions or some bad decisions, obviously, but you can make very educated decisions if you do your homework because you understand it. So, however, what I do have to say is what you just said is extremely true. You need an accountant to balance all of this, or a financial advisor, just to look at the tax implications of all of this, right? They know tax law. Then to another degree, like the times we're living in now, where the market is going crazy because you don't know what's going to happen in the economy. Maybe you can't manage that account yourself, so you do hire someone to help mitigate risk. All right, so these are decisions you will have to make in your lifetime. But definitely, I manage all of these accounts myself. I do make some good and bad decisions, but what I will always do is hire an accountant. I will never do my own taxes because there are so many moving parts to tax law, and it changes with every president, that I'd rather let the professional do it that knows what they're doing. Now, there are some bad accountants and some good accountants, so make sure it's not just your friend that just became an accountant that has no idea what the hell they're doing, if that makes sense.
Serena had a question in the chat.
Serena, if you make over 120K, great. So Serena asked a great question. If you make over 120K because you have this contribution limit, doesn't your traditional just act like a Roth because you don't get the tax deduction? Yeah. It acts just like a Roth, and it's actually worse than a Roth because you're paying income tax during retirement.
Both.
So if you make more than 120K, you're better off in a Roth. Serena, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. What else we got? I think that was pretty good. I think you guys got it.
Isn't a traditional IRA, if you're making under 120, isn't it the same as having a 401k? Or if anything, a 401k is a lot better because you have a bigger contribution limit.
Yeah, the 401k is better. The employer funds into it, right? They pay, and you can contribute more, which is why retirement 401k should be first.
But like if that becomes the same thing as a traditional IRA, if you're making under 120, why would you get another, like also a traditional IRA?
Because why would you have both?
Yeah.
So do this math for me. Write down, let's say you come out of school making, let's go like 65 grand. So write down $65,000. All right, 65. Let's say you live at home. So you contribute 19,500. So 19,500 minus 65,000 equals what?
Wait, Mr. Power?
Yeah.
When you were talking about the $19,500, it was a little laggy. Can you repeat what you did with that money?
Okay, what with Shannon's question?
No. Like when you were giving the example and you said $19,000, what were you doing with that money?
Well, you're talking about your 401k, you mean?
Because when you're explaining, it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was laggy when you were.
Oh, okay. I was cutting around. Okay, so with your 401k, you can contribute up to $19,500. So that lowers your tax bracket. That's the major perk in the 401k. Plus, the employer can pay into it. So Shannon then asked, why have both? Right? Well, here's why. Your average salary is, oh, Tasneem, you have another class. I'm way over time. I'm sorry. I'll have the recording. I'll get these to you guys. I'm sorry. If you make $65,000, okay, minus the $19,500. Shannon, how much do you have left?
45,500.
All right, 45,500. This you pay tax on, right? Unless you also have a traditional IRA. Now what do you pay tax on? 39,500. You now have 2 retirement accounts, and you have lowered your tax bracket because you now are only paying taxes on 39,500.
I see.
Now, the only reason you would max both of those out is because you don't have expenses, right? Let's say you're working a second part-time job. Let's say you live at home. Let's say you don't have any kids. Let's say you live a very simple life, like you don't spend a lot of money. Bye, Frida. Bye, Vanya. Bye, Zeben. Right? Let's say you live a very simple life. So you can live on $39,500, pay your taxes. Maybe now you're living on $27,000 a year. If you don't have a lot of expenses, you can probably do that. You would have to know in advance, though. Do you have an apartment in the city? Because then you can't do both of those accounts because apartments in New York City are expensive. Do you have a child? Then you probably can't do both because then you're not going to have money to afford the necessities of the child. Do you have to buy a car to commute to work? Because if you're buying a car and you have a big car loan you have to pay, you know, if you're driving a beater car, like I drove a beater for my whole life until I bought my new car this year. So I didn't have a big car payment. Now I can afford it if I wanted to. I still drive a Civic. I'm not going to get a Benz or something like that, even if I can afford it, because I don't need all that. But if you're somebody who wants a luxury car, even though you make $65,000 a year, then you have to be cautious about what you're taking out of what you're putting into retirement, because you're going to have less livable income once you make those contributions. Because I just went from $65,000 being taxed to $45,000 being taxed to $39,000 being taxed. I lowered my tax bracket. That's a smart decision. I now have money I can invest. That's a smart decision. But if I have big expenses, this is a really stupid decision. Bye, Daniel. All right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Actually, where did the 6,000 come from? Is it from the IRA?
Yeah. So who's that, James?
Yeah.
So James, this is your salary.
Yeah.
This was your 401k contribution, right?
Yeah.
This was then your traditional IRA contribution.
So is it like stacking or something?
Yeah, you're kind of stacking your retirement.
Oh, okay.
You remove this to lower your tax bracket. You remove this to lower your tax bracket. You can write both of these off because, look, they are tax deductible. So you have 2 investment accounts, one with $19,500 and one with $6,000. And then you have $39,500, which you pay taxes on.
All right.
Where does the money go when you contribute?
What?
Like when you contribute, like where does the money go? You said if you have big expenses, it's a stupid idea. So.
Well, yeah, because when you contribute, this money isn't liquid. Your 401k is not liquid, neither is your traditional. These go into those financial accounts that you can't liquidate. So you now have to live on $39,000 a year.
When you contribute to your accounts, there's no like rule that says you have to contribute like every year, right?
No, you can change it. You can increase or decrease the amount all the time.
Okay.
Then once you turn 59, you can take out that money you contribute, right?
As soon as you turn 59 and a half, just like it says, you can start taking out your money, correct? If you take it out before, you have to pay early withdrawal fees.
Mr. Power, so if I made 120K before I was 59, I'll benefit from it, but if I make over 120K after, I'll have to pay extra taxes?
Say that again. I'm going to erase all this.
If I have to pay, if I made 120K before I was 59, then I'll benefit from it, but if I make over.
From which one?
From traditional IRA.
Okay, so if you make more than 120K?
After I'm 59.
So after 59, you make 120K, right?
Yeah.
Well, pick a number. Is it under or over 120?
Over.
Over. So let's go with a bigger number. Let's go at 140. So you're 59, making $140,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
You cannot deduct the $6,000 because you are over the 120 threshold.
Yeah.
That means no matter what you do with a traditional, even if you contribute, you're still going to pay taxes on your full salary.
Yeah.
All right. However, you can still contribute to a 401k and end up lowering your tax bracket that way.
The point of all this is like once you retire, you just have a lot of money that like you.
Well, because when you get old, you can't work as much. So the goal is you have money to retire. Yes.
Adding follow up to Sabrina's question. So
Les, hold on. Sabrina, does that make sense before we let Leslie compound that?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I don't think that was a super confident yeah.
No, it makes sense.
Okay. All right, Leslie, go ahead.
So if you reach the age like 59, and you, like you said, you make like 140K already, you could change your account to a Roth IRA so it can benefit you more, correct?
What do you mean change your account?
So like, because you can't get the tax deductibles, right? And
Well,
it's
yeah, you can stop contributing to a traditional and start contributing to a Roth. Your traditional, you wouldn't change. You would just keep it, and it still has money in it.
Okay.
You just don't have to add more.
Okay, because they're all like separate accounts.
They're all separate accounts.
Okay.
You will still have all of those accounts. You just wouldn't start adding more money to the account. So if you make more than 120 grand a year, you should just contribute to a Roth. There's no point in contributing to a traditional because you're no longer getting the tax benefit.
Okay. And you can like start that yourself.
Yeah. So I still contribute to a traditional because I don't really make more than $120,000 a year. If and when I start making 150 grand a year, I don't need a traditional anymore because there's no benefit. I might as well just do a Roth IRA.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But I do have all of them.
Yeah.
I do have all of them. These two right now still reduce my tax bracket. And this one gives me the perk of all those stocks can grow and not have to pay tax on it when I retire.
Okay.
So they all have different benefits.
Yeah.
Your traditional and your 401k are the same, except for your contribution limit and for the fact that the traditional has a contribution income deductible limit. And the Roth is completely different because it's not tax deductible, but there's no taxes when you retire.
The income limit for the traditional IRA, that's based on like I believe your gross income. So that's like you can't just
gross.
So you can't just have like put money in for your 401k, and then that like with the tax deductibles that would like decrease. You can't just do that.
100%. You are 1,000% correct. This is all gross.
Okay.
This is all gross income. Good question.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions on that? I know we didn't get to pensions, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be here tomorrow to cover pensions and then to introduce, answer any questions you have. But I will be there to discuss pensions tomorrow, which should take no more than 10 minutes. But we can do pensions tomorrow. And there's so many NAs because a lot of times your pension depends on the company and the union you're with. So it's all different. It's not like these where the 401k, traditional, and the Roth are government mandated. Pensions can vary based on your union. So none of these answers are all relevant to every single pension. There's no like guarantee with all of these pensions. That's why a lot of these, are not available, not available, not available.
What was the question Leslie said again?
The income limit is based on your gross income limit.
Gross. So yeah, so gross means this. Is Subhan still here? I think we don't have anybody from finance.
I think he has class right now.
All right. So your gross is you get a job, they offer you $140,000 a year. That's before taxes. So all of these contributions are before taxes. So you make $140K a year. That's called gross income. After taxes is your net income. So what the government looks for is your gross. So after taxes, you now have about $100K. The government doesn't use the $100K as your income limit. They use your gross. Pam, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So Social Security tax, that's, unemployment tax, your state, local, federal, all of that is your payroll tax. So net income, which is this, is after payroll tax, which we've discussed, and this is gross before payroll tax. All of these numbers are gross. Got that, Ham?
Yeah.
What else we got, guys?
How do you start your own Roth account? Like, what do you call? What?
I have mine through TD. Go to TD Ameritrade.
So most banks.
Everybody.
Every bank.
Almost, I won't say everyone. Almost every financial services company will offer these accounts for you.
Wait, which bank do you like the most?
Okay, so I use TD Ameritrade. They just got bought by Charles Schwab. So I use TD right now for all my retirement accounts and my nephew and niece's accounts. But I have a Citibank savings account because Citibank will be my local bank that I can go to. I can deposit checks. I can take money out. I can put money in, savings, checkings, things like that. My retirement account, my traditional, and my Roth are with TD Ameritrade. My 401k is with a company called Voya Financial. My pension is with the New York City UFT, the United Federation of Teachers Union.
Mr. Power,
Yo.
for when I turn 18, I'm planning on getting my first credit card. Which bank do you recommend me?
Credit card. Okay, so you have to decide really, one, how often you're going to use it and what are you going to use it for. So a lot of different credit cards have different perks. They also have different fees. I don't travel a lot. So my wife used to travel a lot, so she used to get a credit card that had a lot of air mileage points. I think it's safe to say that although the airlines will come back after this coronavirus thing, people will travel less because they're realizing that, hey, we can do a lot of stuff from home. We can have these meetings instead of people from Google having to fly all the way to New York and vice versa. So I wouldn't get a credit card that has travel perks. I have an Amazon Visa card because I own Amazon stock. I own Visa stock. There's no fee, and they give me like 3% cash back. Apple has a credit card with Goldman Sachs, and they give you cash back when you buy Apple products. So you would have to do your research. You also have to find out who's going to offer you the better deal in terms of the percentage, the annual percentage rate. Right? Because you don't want to, you guys can still see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my for some reason my camera disappeared. I don't know what happened. Oh, there you guys are. Sorry. So, you have to be careful with your credit cards, especially when you go to college, because what they're going to do is they're going to try to give, hey, listen, we'll give you a t-shirt and a Frisbee, sign up for your credit card today. So you have to be careful about that. You have to find out, what is my APR? What is my annual percentage rate I'm going to be charged every year, and break that down across the 12 months, right? What is the fee structure going to be? And then how often are you going to use it, right? You want to get a credit card to start building credit. You don't want to have 30 credit cards, right? And you also don't want to have a credit card that gives you a huge APR, because then you're paying a lot of interest. Now you're young, so you're probably going to have a bigger APR than most, but you do have to do some research. I couldn't tell you what's best for you guys. All right. That would be a handful of Google searches, to be honest. You can literally go to the internet and we can look at best, credit cards for college kids. And we can get, we can go to NerdWallet, we can go to Mint, and they're ranking student credit cards. So looking at student credit cards, we can take a look and we can say, there you go. Your Discover card, 5% cash back on most purchases. Good grades. Oh, snap. $20 statement credit card each year. Your GPA is 3.0 or higher. That's $20 a year. That's not going to do anything for you. So that's kind of stupid. No annual fee. That's important. No late fee on your first payment. I guess that's important. No APR change for paying late. So they try to hook you by not raising your interest rate. 0% APR for 6 months. And here we go. After 6 months, 14 to 24% APR. There's the average credit score that they're looking for. 630 to 689, which you probably won't have. Let's scroll down. There's another account. Your Citi Rewards student card. Again, 0 APR for 7 months, 14.5 to 24.9, which is higher than 23.49. So Citibank is 1 more percentage point higher. Earn 2 times. Thank you. So you guys got to kind of do this research. I live by this motto. I don't charge things I can't afford to pay off when my bill comes. Right? Now, it depends on your lifestyle. It depends on if you have something crazy happen in your life. Again, it also depends on, do you have kids or dogs? Do you have rent? A lot of people live a little bit closer paycheck to paycheck than I do, because I got to save a lot more because I lived home for a number of years after college. I was able to save more. So if I splurged $3,000 on a trip, I could pay that off 1 month. I can pay it off. Wasn't a big deal. I can buy shoes today and pay a $200 credit card bill off, no problem, because I have a savings account. If you're charging things and swiping it, Sabrina, you're at risk of having to pay a higher interest. So you would have to do that research and kind of decide which card's better for you. But if you can, I would avoid charging things that you can't pay for unless it's an emergency. New shoes. The best thing for you guys is your prom is going to get canceled. That's the greatest thing you guys could face. You guys are 17, 18. I know you care. I don't care. Because the best thing that can happen, you save $300 on a dress or a suit or a tux rental. You save $400 on going out that night. You save $100 per person on a limo, right? You can probably work that day if you guys work at all, if it's an essential job or the economy reopens slowly. You know, you're saving a good $1,000 that you would have to pay.
But it's an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience that you're not going to care about when you're 25 or 21.
I need a job. I have to get one as soon as possible. The coronavirus is like getting worse and worse.
Why don't you become an Uber driver?
Or a Domino's driver. They're hiring 10,000 new people.
Domino's is delivering. Amazon Fresh is delivering. So you have a lot of options. But so, yeah, you got to look at the bright side, William, right? So those expenses you no longer have, right? So it's unfortunate, but hey, you know what? You guys save money out of it. At the end of the day, it is an experience. But hey, you know what? Life is full of experiences. If you're going to hang on to an experience at 17 years old when you're 25, I feel bad for you guys. So to me, I like the fact that you guys can save money. I don't like the fact that some of you guys can't go to work right now. But those are perks to saving money. All right. But Sabrina, as far as your credit card, you got to do that research, dear. I really can't tell you which one. Does that help at all?
Yeah, it did help.
Just be careful, because when you get to college, they will try to hook you. That's their job. They are salespeople. That's why they give you free stuff. Here's a free hat. Here's a free coffee mug. Here's another free hat. Here's a shirt. Here's a bag. Everyone's got a bag. Oh, I want a bag. What do I have to do? Oh, just sign up for a credit card. Then they send you the credit card. You're like, I don't need money. I have a credit card. I don't need a job. I got a credit card. And that's how you guys end up in debt. All right? So you got to be careful. Be careful of what you're spending money on. Anything else regarding what we discussed here?
What time are you gonna be on tomorrow?
I told New Apps I'll be on at 9:30. So for you guys, I would say the same deal. Do you guys have a tutoring schedule that anyone has for tomorrow for other classes?
No.
Hello?
No.
There's like a math.
There's math. But no.
Yeah, if anyone has the full class schedule, can you send it to me, please?
What time is your tutoring? So when Dr. Marmer sent out the schedule that we no longer have to follow, there's teachers that are putting up their own schedule, right? So if all your teachers are following Dr. Marmer's schedule, there are no classes tomorrow. Tomorrow is strictly for tutoring and things of that nature. If you have a class tomorrow, I will record that. We'll discuss pensions. We'll cover any other questions you have about retirement accounts. We can do this, which I wanted to do today, which is rating your retirement score, which is you give your age, your annual income, your retirement savings you have to date, and it tells you your score and how much you need to save. So we can see, like, how serious is this? So I'm 35. Let's do that right now. My annual income, let's say, is like 80. Let's go 88. Retirement savings, let's say I have 100. Monthly retirement savings, let's see what it says. Am I contributing? Let's say I'm contributing. If I do 6,000 in my Roth, 6,000 in my traditional, and I do 19,000 in my 403B, maybe I'm contributing 200 a month into my retirement account. Retirement age is 65. Well, there's my score. Needs attention. I'm at less than 65% of my goal, where I should be. This says I'll need $7,800 per month in retirement. That sounds kind of crazy.
What does that mean? Like, needs attention.
So what's it mean? This assumes that you want to have the same quality of living, right? So if my annual income is this, let's say I want to have an annual income when I retire of $35,000 per year, or $36,000, right? Then they're saying I'm fair. I'm a little less than average. If I have $200,000 in my retirement account, now I'm in a good place. If I want to retire at 70, it'll increase even more because now it knows I'm not going to take my money out for those extra 5 years. So you kind of have to, we'll do this tomorrow. I want to share this link, and then you guys can click on this. You'll get your score, and you kind of see where they have you pegged in terms of preparation for retirement. So you're not prepared. Let's be real. You guys are like, let's say you guys are 20. You have an annual income of 40 grand. You have no money saved for retirement. $100 per, less than, let's say $50 a month towards retirement. You want to retire at 65. You are at needs a lot of attention, as you probably should be, because you're young and you have no money saved. However, if you're 55 and you make $88,000 a year and you only have $30,000 in your retirement, you are on the very low end of the spectrum. All right. So annual income, this is annual income before taxes. So your gross. Okay. And that's your current salary. Again, it assumes that you want to keep that quality of life. The thing is, by the time you're older, you've paid off your house, you've paid off your car, you have no kids in college anymore because you're old as hell. So you don't have a need for that huge income. So maybe you can live on $30,000 a year, and all of a sudden you can see your numbers increasing. So these are called, I guess you might say, retirement account surveys or retirement scores. And this is through Fidelity. Dozens of companies do these online. You can have some fun and do some research and see if you're ready. You're probably not ready for retirement. Let's do the pipe dream. Let's say by the time I'm 40, if I can make $90,000 a year and I have 300 in my saving, in my retirement, I contribute 200 a month, and I want to retire at 60. I'm still below where I need to be. Right? I need like $800,000, even $800,000 in my savings account is just good in my retirement savings. This is why a lot of people work through retirement. They get like a job at Walmart, right? They're the person at the door or the person at the cash register. You know, it's a simpler job. They still have money coming in because it is hard to have $800,000 or $2 million saved and live during that time frame. But then you also get your Social Security check from the government because you pay into Social Security. So you have some things to consider. All right, but I do want to do this tomorrow. I talked about tax brackets with New Apps a little bit today because somebody was asking about that and how reducing your income based on this chart would reduce your tax rate. We can go over credit cards again. I really think we just covered it, so it's not a big deal. We are going to do a credit score lesson during April on credit scores and how to lower and how to improve your credit and create a credit score. What else? And tomorrow we'll also introduce the next assignment, which on my site will be the government intervention in the economy, which you guys should have started because I believe it is due tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we will discuss it and go over it because, you know, I give you guys these worksheets with these questions and scenarios, but then I'm sure that a lot of this is copy paste. A lot of this is you think you understand, but you have questions. So we'll discuss this a little bit tomorrow. If you have any questions, we won't go over it. It's not a lesson tomorrow. Q&A tomorrow. All right, we'll do pensions, then Q&A. This is what we will start covering Thursday and Friday. We can probably fly through all of this on Thursday. Okay? Questions? No? Emily looks like she's ready for bed. All right, guys, have a good day. If you need me, reach out to me.
So tomorrow 9:30.
9:30.
Same link.
Same link. Yeah. If you can, just HR. Emery, if you can just reach out to Tina and just have HR blast it out and say, hey, 9:30 till like whenever. You're right. And if people have a math, AP calc lesson tomorrow, then that's fine. They can come after. If they come at 10 or 10:30, maybe we're still here. If not, I'll upload the Zoom also. I didn't upload yesterday's Zoom. I'm going to try to upload this one today.
Is Jonathan still
Miss
doing?
Power, thank you.
Wait, Mr. Powers, is Jonathan still doing the stock market game, or is that not in?
Oh, I don't know.
session?
That's not.
Yeah, he's still doing it. We're still
It
doing
is, but it lags a lot, so you have to check it on your computer.
Yeah, you
And
guys
I
can
was
figure out if you guys
yesterday,
doing that
so-
stock market game. Have a blast. Ham has all that set up. You guys can contact him and figure that out.
Yeah, bye guys.
Bye, guys.
I Miss Power.
Hi, thank you.
Power.
Bye.